Welcome back. Today in our Sunday Spotlight, we're talking about UConn football. The team has won all 4 of its home games, and according to ESPN Analytics, it's likely to win the rest of the games this season. Really? Channel 3 Sports Director Joe Zone has that answer. He's joining me to talk about prospects for a bowl appearance and what these wins mean for the future. Forget a bowl. I want 10-2, Joe. Am I going to get it?
10-2. Well, look at it this way. Their next 4 games, so 3 of them at home, those 4 teams, Wake Forest, Rice, Georgia State, University of Alabama, University, Birmingham, none of them have a winning record. Those are all winnable games. They've got 4. There's 4 more, so I got you at 8-2. Assuming, of course, they win all those. Then they have to play at Syracuse. I don't know who ESPN is looking at, but Syracuse, they do have a winning record. And then UMass has 1 win. So 10
and UMass will be amped up for that game no matter what. That is for sure a rivalry game, even no conference. That's a UConn rivalry game.
You want 10-2. You need 6 to make a bowl game. They have 4. Certainly, the next 3 at home, all in a row, are winnable. That's 7. Now, we thought Temple was going to be. Remember, I think Temple, they were favored like 13.5, something like that. Biggest point spread lead they've had in years.
It was the squeaker.
They're this far away from losing that game, and all of a sudden ESPN's got to go back and redo their whole how many games can they win down the stretch. I like their chances. I love covering the team. It's exciting. They score. Here's what Jim Morris said. We know we got to get your trust. You want exciting football? We scored 45. We scored 48. We scored 37 all at home. So it is exciting to watch, and I love the way they're building to the future.
But you would love to see more fans in the stands.
Look, I get there early, got all my gear, my camera stuff. I walk in, it's empty. There's 1,000 people in there. And there's a lot of them out tailgating. They come in late, but if I'm a player and I walk in and I see the stadium that empty, and once again, they know they have to build trust. They need to win some games, but they're winning games. I think they deserve now have a rocking stadium. They're off this week. Next Saturday, I'd love to see that place full. Cheer those guys out, because I think what Jim Moore is doing with this program, I think he's doing something nobody thought could be done. People are talking about them around the country. Nobody's saying that, here's the difference between this team and the old teams. That Temple game, the old UConn football team would figure out a way to lose that game. This UConn football team has figured out a way to win those games. That is a clear difference. That's how you get to 7-8 wins.
And that is the difference. It's that the games that are squeakers, you got to win those games if you're going to be a solid football team. I want to show the play that ended last week's game. Jordan Wright taking this back 96 yards for the touchdown. I think we're going to see it here pop out, and here he goes. Jordan Wright, and here's why I want to show it. A, because it's exciting, and I was jumping up and down in my living room. But beyond that, he's a K-State transfer. 51 new players we're talking about on this roster, 28 out of the portal. The Buffalo coach raised issue with that. He said, I looked at video from last year and this year. It's like a completely different team. But this is the world we live in, the world of NIL and the transfer portal, right, Joe? It
works perfectly for UConn. Now, look, some of the negatives are you're losing some of your players. But again, what's the portal about? It's filled with players who don't want to be at the schools they're at. That's why they're in the portal. So UConn lost players who didn't want to be there. So Jim Mora, the head coach, has figured out so far how to go in there, find which players he wants that fit into his system. These are players he would never get. Here's the difference between the portal and what used to be. Used to be you get a high school kid, you build your team with high school kids. All right? They could transfer those kids, but they always had to wait a year. Now they don't have to wait with the portal. So you would get these high school kids, you build them up, they're juniors, seniors, they're helping your program. Now you have all these kids in the portal, kids who were pretty good players who UConn didn't have a shot at, but aren't playing at other schools. They want to play. Plus, with the nil, you can throw them some money. So he's figured out a way to get some of these really good players. The portal has helped UConn build a football team quicker because they don't have to wait around 3-4 years for players they hope are good. These are players who already have game experience in the portal, ready to go, and they want to play right now.
Less guessing for the coaches, which is a big deal.
You're guessing a little bit because you don't have that personal long-term relationship.
But you're not projecting a guy 4 years out when he's a high school kid.
And if you guess wrong, you're in the portal next year.
You talked about the NIL, D'Amelio, the collective, there's a whole bunch of people doing that. Is this success that the team's having right now, and we certainly hope it runs the season, is it a big deal for more than just those players and those fans? I mean, it's a big deal for the university to have a football team that's competing, right?
Well, all we keep hearing about is football drives the money bus, and all we keep hearing about is UConn trying to get into a conference rather than being an independent. So the more people are talking about UConn football, the better chance the football program has of getting some national attention and then maybe getting into another conference. I like basketball in the Big East, but UConn as an independent, it's a tough battle. They can't go to, they're not going to win a conference championship, so you're telling kids, and here's the goal for UConn football. You want 10 wins? I think you get 7, 8, 9, and go to a bowl game every year. That's success for an independent like UConn football.
And certainly, hopefully, the fans will come out and support that. Just a few seconds left.
I can't beg them, but I'll wave to every single one of them if they're there.
Well, listen, you waved to me plenty of times down there with your camera. And
camera here.
And hopefully people will go out. We have about 45 seconds left. I want to shift gears because tonight, my New York Mets are going to be playing in the National League Championship Series. I have right here, Joe, my New York Mets tie that Nicole Nalepa gifted me.
Very nice.
Have you been very impressed with the run my Mets have been on?
I hardly pay attention to the Mets. I'm a Yankee guy. What can I tell you? Now, I know that New York, what a World Series that would be. Dodgers, Yankees, the whole world wants to see. Good luck.
All right. That is our UConn football. That's our sports segment with Eric and Joe. Joe Zone, thank you so much for being with us. That is CT24 for this week. CBS Sunday Morning is coming up next. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll meet you back here in Studio A next Sunday morning. And, of course, let's go Mets.